Okay, welcome back to Secrets of Role Mangging for our Call of Cthulhu campaign, Masks of Nyarlathotep. And I'm going to try to make this a shorter video partly because not a tremendous amount really happened that I need to go into depth about. We're not going to be going to the board, nothing's changed there. They have yet to get to the real meat of Cairo, so... Okay, so they visited Jan Willem. That was interesting. Actually, well, the whole Jan Willem situation that was hilarious to me. I'm very curious to see how other groups handle that. I'm sure that most groups, of course, pick up that this guy stole sacred things from the cat goddess. He needs to return them. It's very blatantly obvious. It's just how do they handle Jan? Our group was pretty forceful. Not as forceful as perhaps they could have been. They could have started like cutting off fingers and, you know, get kind of grim. They didn't hurt the guy, so that was good. He's just like I modeled him as much as I could after John Candy, but he's still just kind of an incompetent drunkard kind of guy, so he's gonna get on pretty much everybody's nerves, and the cats everywhere kind of just compound the problem. So that was pretty funny. I didn't want to make it like a huge deal for them finding the hidden temple. There was talk of flying the scrolls out of Egypt, getting them away from there. I wouldn't recommend that. It says that, well, the woman that they encountered, I don't even know if I mentioned that in the regular video. They saw a woman like once. I think Richard saw like a beautiful, beautiful woman saying, "Tell him to return what he has stolen." And I kind of rushed through this. I rushed through the whole section of the black cat thing because I wanted that to finish up. So the next session was just purely about, you know, the Sphinx and all that. So I kind of rushed through it and I escalated it very quickly. But that woman is Neris, who is a priestess of Bast, or like an avatar or something like that. I think it's a priestess of Bast. And so she'll find out, of course, if they want to flee the country. And she will try to kill them before they do. If they do manage to get out, then it falls under Bast's territory. And she will get them back, and they will probably die in return. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that route. But it worked out. We had kind of a happy ending right at the end of a session where cats were just, you know, all over Richard, very happy, and he was just, oh, God, it's over. It was very, very fitting. I like that ending, so that was good. Because it was going to get scary if they actually hurt the cats in any way. I mean, I had him like step on the cats to kind of freak them out. Or I had him step on a cat's tail to freak them out. But if they like shot a cat or did something terrible, I don't think any of the players would do something like that. They're not the type. But if they do, oh man, shit goes down. Yeah. So that was fun. Alright, so the Bent Pyramid. That was the most climactic part of the session. There's not tremendous amounts to talk about there. They didn't get any info out of the star charts. They wouldn't have really gotten any info, which is why I gave Richard the info about the solar eclipse on January 14th, 1926. I kind of handed that to him, because I knew none of them knew anything about astronomy. They would not get the star chart link, which, you know, if any of them knew anything about astronomy, they'd go right to it, they would get it, it'd be done. But I wanted them to have that info because I want them to know there are deadlines in this campaign. And so it was fine, you know. I want them to have that info, and then they also got the info eventually about the birth date of the child of Nyarlathotep, which should scare them. I'm very curious to see what they do with that information. Because I'm pretty certain they want to stop, like, they feel like they need to stop this thing in Cairo. And they do, as I mentioned last time. They do need to stop it. But then they also need to get to Kenya and then find the Mountain of the Black Wind and prevent this birth somehow within 1 month's time. It's possible, but it's going to be tricky. And now I've set that date. I cannot change that date now. And I thought of it on the spot. I was like, oh shit, I have to come up with a date right here. March 31st. I don't know. Because the book doesn't tell you, of course not. So, maybe that was way too soon. If you think about how much time has passed since we started the campaign, it's been about a month and a half. So, they should be able to handle this in 1 month's time, but we'll see. I think they will. Yeah, I think they will. Because, you know, if they get there and they handle everything ahead of time, you know, then it's easy to just say, okay, you wait around a week or something like that. But, yeah, they're going to be hopefully scrambling. Alright, so the big thing with the Black Pharaoh. The Black Pharaoh would have appeared. He would have just appeared as the Black Pharaoh, as he normally would. That was going to happen. You know, I was going to make it happen. But he sat on the throne. Like, I assume this was just a character decision, you know, just it'd be funny, you know. I guess that's part of it. Part of the thing in Call of Cthulhu is you never really grow attached to your characters enough to care, you know. It's like, whatever, I'll just make a new one. Playing Call of Cthulhu in a campaign like this where you're really invested in a character, that's got to be terrifying. Like, why would you go anywhere? So, yeah, you know, it's kind of just how it's run. So, yeah, he sat in it, and he probably knew he was effed, pretty much. So, yeah, Black Pharaoh begins talking, and this was a thing where, like, I have the campaign book, which I can reference. That says stuff about the conversation. I have the companion book, which also says stuff about the conversation. And then I have my own interpretation of how I want the conversation to go. But when it's actually happening, you kind of just have that moment of panic, and you're like, foolish mortals, blah, blah, blah. And so I had the campaign book open in front of me, and so I'm like, I'll just, read some of this stuff. I don't think it was a bad encounter. But it probably wasn't as impactful as it could have been. They saw, the camp being slaughtered, but since they know that Hypatia Masters is apparently alive at the Mountain of the Black Wind, and they know that a child will be born there because Nodens told them that she was alive, they immediately were inclined to not really believe this. Again, also Nyarlathotep being, this god of trickery, yeah, they don't really believe it. In some campaigns, I could see that kind of throwing people off incredibly. So yeah, they all passed those sanity rolls, which was impressive, I guess. That was pretty crazy. And then Ted McNugget had to open his mouth, and so it says he happened to ask the right question to lead into the second part where he shows them ancient Egypt. And as I've said, this is exactly what happened with the Carlisle expedition. That's where they went and they visited. So yeah, it just says that investigator is trapped in ancient Egypt. So I could have done something, and I messaged Ziggy privately. I was like, do you want to make like a pact or something like that? And he's like, maybe. And then we decided he didn't want to do it. So I was like, I like Ted McNugget, so we'll say he lived a grand life in ancient Egypt as like an oddity sent from the gods or something. But yeah, that was very quick. As I said, it was very quick, abrupt, And shame, because he was actually, you know, it wasn't like one of Ed's characters or something like that. It was Ted McNugget. He was a cool guy, so... yeah. There was talk after they left of Ronnie blowing up the Inner Sanctum, blowing up the pyramid. It mentions this. The throne room can be destroyed with sufficient high explosive. The immediate cost for the explosive is 1,400 Egyptian pounds. The delayed cost for blowing up a pyramid is 30 years in an Egyptian prison. I find it funny that they mention this. They're like, you know, a lot of players might want to just blow this place to hell, so let's put down some info here. But yeah, I wasn't incredibly happy with it, with the whole encounter there. I did like that a couple of people died, including one on the throne. That was pretty cool. I think every player realizes now that Nyarlathotep is the main enemy here. He said that he plans on opening up a gate and, you know, destroying humanity. So, you know, it's pretty blatant at this point. So, regardless of how you really run it, it's going to be a pretty impactful thing where they gain a bunch of new information about their mission. You know, they've been kind of wandering a bit aimlessly. You know, they're looking for the Carlisle expedition, but they know there's more to it than that. You know, they know they're not just going to find the Carlisle expedition and just be, oh, okay. You know, there's more to it, and now they're getting a big glimpse at it. So they have these deadlines: the birth of the child, the gate opening. I'm not sure if they have connected the gate opening to the January 14th thing yet. I don't know what Richard's doing with that info, but yeah, so pretty crazy stuff. That was a fun section to run. I like that part. Alright, then they read about Zahavi and the girdle being stolen, and there's not an exact time frame for when that should happen. I think it says maybe a few days after they meet with him. So I may have done it quicker than I should have. Perhaps. Yeah, several days later. Was that several days later? That happened on March 1st. February 26th, so 1, 2... Yeah, it was several days later. That was good. So yeah, they probably, if they wanted to do it like the legal ways of just talking to the guy and, you know, convincing him, I don't think they could ever convince him to move it. He would believe that it's definitely protected. Could they steal it? Sure, but it's kind of funny, right? You know, they're stealing this holy artifact so they can destroy it so the bad guys can't get it to do bad things. You know, it's okay. Doing a bad thing to make something good happen or prevent something bad from happening. Okay. Could they have destroyed it? Yes. I mean, I think I talked about that already. Or maybe I didn't. They could destroy it. Not through normal means. They would have to figure it out. But they could have destroyed it. But now it's gone. They will not see it until, you know, the resurrection night. They could follow up leads all day. They wouldn't find it. So that was interesting. It was kind of a bummer that they didn't get to see how it was guarded, because one of the guys guarding it was named Nessim FD. 90-year-old dude, but he holds the Sword of Akmalach, which is a scimitar, but it's a magical one, and it does normal damage to any creature from any plane of existence. So if they like cut Golk with this, he would bleed, and he'd be like, you know, what the fuck, you know, or something like that. But yeah, anything they cut with this, it would do normal damage. It's very powerful. It's kind of a complicated item. I don't want to go into it because it's pretty much gone at this point. Yeah, I could maybe include it at some point, but No, because here it says, okay, what happened was, they, I think it would be Omar Shakti, he summoned up a Chthonian from underground, and it burst forth into the room where the girdle was being held. And so that's what caused the whole collapse and everything. And Nessim FD, 90-year-old Egyptian dude, he's got this badass magical scimitar. He goes up against this Chthonian, and he slices it up. But unfortunately, it does eventually get him, and so it says that it carries him off and the enchanted blade. So yeah, it's pretty much gone. Okay. The Clive expedition. This was another thing that was a little hazy to run based on how it was. It basically says, like, after spending a few hours, the investigators gather up a complete story, and then it tells you, you know, what they hear. So I could have just done that. It'd be like, you guys hang around for a while, and this is what you find out. But I wanted to roleplay it a bit more because I want them to... Because if you do that, they have no... I guess you could say you notice that Agatha and James are a bit, you know, they're being watched, and so they're a bit reluctant to talk. You could do something like that, but that seemed really rushing past a lot of things, and so we probably wouldn't have got the funny pissing story out of it, so I was okay with how I ran the whole Clive expedition. I'm pretty sure they think Dr. Henry Clive is... Well, they have reason to not trust him, but it seemed like they thought he was a good guy. He's not a good guy. He's completely insane. They didn't like Martin Winfield, but I didn't really use him to much advantage. Agatha Broadmoor. Man, they were like, oh, who should we have her do like a seance with? Oh, God. Like Reginald Steinway, or, oh, man, who should we have her talk to? And I was just sitting there, I was like, come on, you can think of this. You can think of this. Nobody suggested that she contact the spirit of Jackson Elias. You all know about this guy. All of you. And in the companion book, there is a whole section devoted just to the concept that the investigators tell Agatha to contact the spirit of Jackson Elias. There's a whole section. And so I was waiting for it to happen because I was like, oh man, that would be really good thinking on their parts, and oh, I have this whole section just for it. I'm prepared, but nope, it didn't happen. I was really bummed out. So yeah, they probably won't speak to these people again because what's going to happen is it's just about nighttime. They're going to go to the thing by the pyramids. They're going to go down there. They're going to have their craziness in the tunnels. They're going to come out in the inner sanctum, or the what is it called? The great chamber of Nyarlathotep. They're going to enter there, and they're going to see the 800 cultists and all that. They're going to see this mass ritual going on. And at the far end of it, you know, tied up or whatever, are going to be the nice people they were talking to. So they're not going to get a chance for Agatha Broad. Well, I can't say that, but it's unlikely. Okay. So, yeah, the Clive expedition, blah, blah, blah. Killing the 3 guards at Giza, that was something I was like, you know, they're in broad daylight. They're snooping around these little ruins, and there are people all around, and a mummy was just stolen from here. There's plenty of guards around. This is not going to end well for them. So, of course, they get caught trying to move this stone slab. And, of course, I made the guys just dicks because it was funny. And, of course, I had Golk egging him on, and so, yeah. It wouldn't... Well, yeah, so... They could have gone to prison, and they probably would have tried to ask Golk to break him out, which he could, but there's a price to pay for these things. And so I want them to learn that, because that all kind of gets them suckered into the packs. You know, I love that, and Golk loves that. So I'm going to try to reinforce that in Eugene. Reefly, the player, knows that, but I want his character to know that, you asked Gulk that question, and then you felt something strange about you, but he led you right there. This little man is very resourceful, but you feel a bit different. Because, Richard was right. Gulk is not just a get-out-of-jail-free card. Quite the opposite. He's there to lull you into a false sense of security. But they handled the guards on their own without Gulk at all, so that was good. Well, for the most part, he gave Linus a gun, but that was just badass. Come on. And so they know where the secret entrance is now. So that's next session's gonna be crazy, man. I can't wait to see their reactions to that whole scene. Just the 800 cultists chanting in unison in this great underground chamber underneath the pyramids, and the huge just pool full of leeches, and they're throwing live people in there as sacrifices and just pulling out pale bags of flesh and shit, and then they just start like slitting throats, and the spirits just coming down, and oh man, I can't wait to see what they do. I'm really curious on how they handle the situation, because Ronnie does not have enough explosives to blow up the whole place. It's too big. And getting that much explosives, that's going to be tricky. So, and they're going to go there tonight, I'm almost certain. If they do delay, I will, of course, delay the ritual night, but I'm pretty sure they're going to go back because time is of the essence in their minds, They think they have everything they need, they're going to resurrect it, and if somebody says, like, maybe we should wait a night, Gulk will be there to be like, no, it's going to be tonight. So, yeah. That's going to be plenty of fun. It's definitely stoppable. Stopping the resurrection. And they are going to want to stop it. But there's a lot of people in there, and they are not as prepared as they probably want to be. If they have, like, all the cultists are going to be wearing the exact same robes, with an inverted ankh and everything like that. They do not have those. And they're not going to be able to procure it. Maybe with a heavy favor from Gulk, you'd be like, oh yeah, I took some of those while we were in the market. Here's 6 of them. All of you lose 3 points of strength. Maybe. We'll see. That's kind of funny. But, yeah. Next session's going to be really crazy. And then, regardless after that, they're probably going to be moving to Kenya, because again, time's of the essence. So really, I should be moving over to the board to talk about Kenya, but nah, not tonight. So it won't be a problem. It won't be a problem. Alright, so that's going to wrap up this video. I don't know how long that was. It felt shorter, though. There wasn't a great deal to talk about, but next time will be good. So, my name is Mang. This has been Secrets of Roll Mangging for our Call of Cthulhu campaign. I'll see you fine folks in 2 weeks.